what you gonna do when a
Blood Bowl
mania run wild on you?
Good evening, Blood Bowl fans. Today, in our final episode of Blood Bowl Mania, we take a look at the most decorated team in the game's history. Last I heard, they had a few rough patches and seasons. But, remember, they managed to pull themselves by their shoestrings. Sure, we do this the regular format. You read, I make weird comments, and somewhere at the middle we get an advertiser spot read by a guy we never saw. It's the only format we can afford. Let's start it. Before the Reikland Reavers were the team they are today, they used to go by a different name. And that name was the Altdorf Acolytes. And the Altdorf Acolytes were formed in 2389 by a business consortium in association with the people of Altdorf, making their home field at Griswold Memorial Stadium. This was achieved because of a vacant franchise spot came up in the former Olands Conference. D.D. Griswold Sr., the original owner, bought and practiced the old-time art of poaching talent from other teams. Combined with financial acumen and headed by coach John Weissput, their first season ended with a 4th place spot in the Weisco Challenge Cup. That cup is now known as the Chaos Cup, a cup that the Altdorf Acolytes, or Reikland Reavers, will win like 90 times, around there. But anyway, let's go to the moment they changed their name, which happened in 2396. Because this, it was the collapse, the name change, the NFA rules, and its death. During a storm in 396, Griswold Memorial Stadium collapsed due to cost-cutting schemes by the firm who built it, as well as alleged paybacks for other incidents. The team changes its name to the Reikland Reavers and makes its new home in the Altdorf Old Bowl. The same year, the Reavers get their first Chaos Cup win by defeating the Wuppertal Wutans in the final. In 1999, the Reikland Reavers and Dwarf Giants make Blood Bowl history when it's discovered that both sides are using their own versions of the rules. Remember how Blood Bowl was created to avoid wars? Well, this almost started a war in of itself, but it was narrowly diverted when the NAF officials stepped in and the game is, abandoned at a score of 70-4. This would lead to an official set of rules for all teams a decade later in 409. The Reikland Reavers would go to win 7 consecutive Chaos Cup championships from 99 to 405. By 410, the Reikland Reavers have solidified their place as a powerhouse Blood Bowl team. Fortunately, D.D. Griswold Sr. dies and leaves the team to his son, D.D. Griswold Jr. You know it's a sign of bad luck when a rich kid inherits their parents' money and legacy. It can never really hold up. But then again, I looked into that orb of yours. I've seen the Horde screw when they practice and when they didn't practice nepotism. So who knows what's the right answer? Please don't touch that. We're on a limited bandwidth. We can't afford using it for silly things like that. The Dark Age. Switching to head coach Blind Willie Mueller, that's a good start. With rumors that he only achieved this position through blackmailing D.D. Griswold Jr. over claims of misconduct with the Reaverettes, the Reavers cheerleading squad, the team seems to still do well. Although they do manage strong results, including a couple more Chaos Cup championships, the style of play and dominating field presence is no longer recognizable. By 432, the Reavers, without strong leadership, enter a 14-year slump and begin their decline to their worst placings ever. During this year, 11 members of the team are infected with Nurgle's rot. resulting in the transfer of the 8 players to subterranean slime balls. And on this decimation, D.D. Griswold Jr. is replaced by his son, J.J. Griswold Sr. From one son to another. Not the best of times for the Reavers. They still won the Chaos Cup a few more times. Ain't all that bleak. Surely losing a chunk of your team to Nurgle's Rot is a bad thing, though. Looks like it. Either way, we'll be thanking our sponsor for this video now. Back to the Scarlet Printing Press. Today's sponsor is none other than the famous Carbon-12, Hydrogen-22, Oxygen-11, one of the most addictive substances known to man, and the sweetest. Your children will love it, and they will go off the walls, and then they will crash worse than a goblin rocket, giving you that sweet, sweet time of peace and quiet. It also does wonder for you, and if you are an adult, you can take more of it without crashing. Side effects might include diabetes, tooth decay, and other assortments of problems that we are not responsible for. Back to our regular show. We need better sponsors. Tooth decay is no joke. It's all we can afford. Please continue. I'll go brush my teeth. The Griswold-Zwimmer era. J.J. Griswold Jr. takes over from his father, J.J. Griswold Sr., after the father is killed standing too close to the sidelines during an Asgard Ravens match. That sounds like a chaos team if I ever heard of one. Once established, Griswold Jr. wastes no time in finding a new head coach, Helmut Zwimmer. Coach Zwimmer institutes his new order of training, preparation, and recruitment. This style of management of acquisition and foundation building would lead to the cultivation of some of today's biggest stars, including the mighty Zug and Griff Oberwald. In 485, the Reikland Reavers win their 3rd Blood Bowl championship against the Darkside Cowboys, stepping out to replace Wolfram von Beck. Wait, no, that was another sentence. Stepping up to replace Wolfram von Beck, who was fatally injured in the first 90 seconds, Orlak Strumdrag leads the team to victory alongside Mighty Zug. And now we're gonna look at the Captain Oberwald era. Due to the stress of selling his likeness, sports promotions, and running teams, Orlak Strumdrag retires, allowing his half-cousin, Griff Oberwald, who started with the Reavers in 483, to take over as team captain in 487. The same year, Oberwald leads the Reavers their 4th Blood Bowl championship. After the collapse of the NAF, the Reikland Reavers make it through the crisis unscathed thanks to their astute financial planning of J.J. Griswold Jr. With the switch to open tournaments following the NAF's collapse in 489, the Reavers defeat the Marauders in 491 to win another Blood Bowl championship, and also silence the skeptics who stated the Reavers would do poorly in the new tournament format. During this transition, the Reavers changed their logo from a skull and dagger to a golden griffin. The uniforms also changed from predominantly blue and yellow to predominantly blue and white, when of course is not red from the blood of the opposing team or their own. Hey, you're back. I hope your teeth are shining, Guardian Sky, because there is someone that wants to work on them. I ain't going to any dentist, pal. Not in that way. Not in any other way, you perverted creep. It was supposed to be a joke about getting them knocked out. You need better jokes. These are all we can afford. So who you want to talk about? You'll see, one of the best Blood Bowl players out there on the field, and one of the 2-star players produced by the Reikland Reavers, the Mighty Zug. You see, the Mighty Zug is a lineman / blitzer, because he can play both, for the Reikland Reavers, and he has won 3 Blood Bowl championships with the team. His style of bashing and causing pain has given his popularity a boost amongst all other sorts of fans. Well, any sorts of fan. Let's be honest, if you're a Blood Bowl fan, you're gonna like the mighty Zug. Zug has achieved multiple awards for his bruising and bashing, and remains a solid fixture for the Reavers. Though he is a free agent and he lends his services to human teams and Old War Alliance teams. You see, now let's get to his history. In 468, he was introduced to the Reikland Reavers through the practice of adopting a young orphan and giving them apprenticeship. The practice, by an ancient charter, states the Reavers are beholden to adopt a young orphan from any Altdorf orphanage and award them an apprenticeship with the team. That sounds like a bad idea. What if you get a bad player, pal? You deal with it. Despite having to deal with a massively large yet simpering wimp, Coach Helmut Zwimmer personally took interest in Zug's training, even after most of the staff considered the mountainous boy an ugly, stupid, and unfit ape. Through various training regimens and personal attention, Zug emerged from his worthless shell and began to transform into a young man who could use his massive bulk with skillful coordination. Zug played in his first professional game with the Reavers in the autumn of 476 and promptly injured 8 Middenheim Marauders players in the first half. That's no small feat. His popularity rose along with his fatality count and helped the Reavers win the Blood Bowl Championship in 479. In his personal life, we all know now that he grew up in the orphanages of Altdorf and was chosen by the Reavers as an apprentice because of his size, even though he was known to be Gentile, introverted, and possibly stupid, some would say. Playing for the Reavers changed his life, and he is now known to have one of the largest collections of orc teeth in the old world. And that's without going to war. And I don't think he will participate in the orcs' trade of teeth for services. Now comes the star of every human team out there, and the man that saved the Reavers. Valerian Manx? Different timelines. Oh, you mean the guy with the punchable face? Yes, Griff Oberwald is a team captain and star blitzer of the Bogenhafen Barons. That's a weird one. Maybe you should have repeated it before. Who knows? I'll continue to just be wrong with this. Oberwald is easily the most recognizable face for a human team, especially considering his accolades and sponsorships with multiple companies. He helped to gain the Reikland Reavers 3 Blood Bowl championships and 4 AFC championship titles. When Griff Oberwald first played for the Reikland Reavers, it was recorded that the head coach Helmut Zwimmer said, "That boy is almost above average." First coming to the attention of the Reavers fans in 483, after making a tackle play resulting in 3 ears and a nose from the opposition, caused a 2-game suspension, Oberwald garnered the first team position due to hard work and training. Alongside his half-cousin Orlak Strumdrag, Oberwald earned the Best Newcomer medal in his second season with the Reavers. The award was rightly given, considering he scored the winning touchdown versus the Darkside Cowboys in one of the Blood Bowl championships, helping the Reavers to gain their 3rd Blood Bowl Cup. Captain Strumdrag would step down as team captain, and in the second match of the 487-488 season, Oberwald was promoted in his place. In the same year, Oberwald led the Reavers to their 4th Blood Bowl Cup and received the AFC's Player of the Year award. However, following the Reavers' victory in 499, Blood Bowl Cup, Griff shook the old world when he refused to sign a new contract with his boyhood team. Instead, Griff joined the relatively new Bogenhafen Barons in an incredibly lucrative contract that made him one of the best paid players in the game. Though it is said that this move was due to Griff beginning to feel his age and he wanted to wind down his career. Griff has since proved his doubters wrong, guiding the Barons to the 40th Blood Bowl championship and into the annals, that's a fun one, of Blood Bowl history. And this has been the end of Blood Bowl Mania. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and with some luck we'll have some Blood Bowl 3 videos on the show. Did the producer approve of that? Only if it's a secondhand copy from a sketchy Sino-American website. Nevertheless, thank you for being part of this journey. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.